back to the Grand Circus Git Basics video series. In this final video, we'll look at various ways to go back and undo things with Git. One of the best things about Git is that it records the history of our project. We can use this history to examine what's happened over time, and we can use it to go back and undo things that have gotten messed up. We'll look at both of these scenarios. First, we'll use git checkout to time travel back in the commit timeline. Then, we'll look at how to undo a few different situations. Remember that each time we commit, it's like a save point in our repository timeline. We can always go back to that point and see what all the files looked like when that commit happened. Let me show you how. In this repository, I have two files, an index.html and a style.css. The HTML file is code for a web page, and the CSS file goes with it to determine some of the visual styling. Looking at the code, you can see that the web page says Happy Coding, and the background color is set to orange. Here's what that looks like. But it wasn't always that way. Suppose I get a call from my client, and they want to go back to the old website color. Problem is, I don't remember what the old color was. But I can use Git to look back at the old version of the website. First, look back at the commit history with git log. There are 4 commits here. In the last 2 commits, the messages say that I changed the background color and greeting. I want to peek back and see what the web page looked like before those changes. So what I want to do is go back to this commit that has all the files before these 2 changes. To do this, I'll copy the hash of that commit. Remember, the hash is the unique identifier of the commit. I can use it to tell Git which commit I'm talking about. Now I'll type git checkout and paste the hash that I copied. This tells Git to temporarily switch back to that commit. Now we explore the code. Looks like at that point, the greeting was Hello World, and the background color was silver. The page looked like this. So what happened there? When I ran git checkout, Git replaced the files in the folder with the old ones from the commit I picked. But git checkout only temporarily takes us back to a commit. You'll see that Git told us we're in a detached head state. We don't want to just start coding from here. Once we're done looking around back here in the past, we need to return to the present. To do that, run git checkout master. Master refers to the most recent commit on the main branch of our repository. We'll cover this more later in the lesson on branches. Now all our files have returned to the original state. The greeting is Happy Coding, and the background color is orange. We just saw how Git keeps track of every change we commit over time and lets us look back at any commit with the git checkout command. Next, we'll look at a different command that lets us more permanently go back if we want to get rid of the most recent commits. Suppose we realize it was actually a mistake to switch to Happy Coding and an orange background. We want to get rid of those 2 most recent commits. We want to start fresh, back at the Hello World and silver background. First, we need the hash of the commit we want to roll back to. Run git log to get the list of commits. Copy the hash of the commit before the change we want to get rid of. Now type our new command git reset -- hard and paste the commit hash. This is a hard reset to that commit. If we look at the files, we'll see that Happy Coding and orange background are gone, and if we run git log, the 2 later commits are gone as well. We've effectively removed those commits as if they had never happened and returned back to the save point at this second commit. Now, technically, these commits are still saved in the repository behind the scenes, and we could get back to them if we had to. Things are rarely ever truly gone forever in Git, but for practical purposes, those commits have been erased. To summarize the command we just ran, git reset -- hard is a way to undo 1 or more commits in order to go back to a previous one. There may be one more step you need to take here. If you already pushed the bad commits to GitHub, you also need to undo that. Here we can see that GitHub still has all 4 commits. Simply typing git push won't do it. the push is rejected. Instead, once we've done the reset in our local repository, run git push -- force to reset the GitHub repo to the same commit. If we look at GitHub now, it is back to the same two commits that we have locally. Here's a summary of these commands so far. First, reset back to the good commit right before the bad commits you want to undo. Then, if you already pushed those bad commits to GitHub, put GitHub in sync with git push -- force. Git reset can be used in another way as well. If things have gotten messed up on our computer, but things are still okay on the GitHub version, we can reset our computer to what's on GitHub. It doesn't matter whether the changes on our computer are committed or not. The following command will blow them away completely and replace them with what's on GitHub. Git reset -- hard origin master. Remember, origin is the standard name for our GitHub remote repository. This is a magic bullet for when things get really messed up on your computer and you just want to reset. But think before you type. You'll lose anything that you've done that's not on GitHub. So far, we've talked about how to go back to something you've already committed. In this final section, we'll look at how Git can also help undo changes that you haven't committed yet. I've made some changes to my website, and I'm thinking about committing. But first, I'm going to do a git status to check things out. It shows that I've modified style.css and index.html, and I've already added style.css to the staging area. It also shows that I have one new file, temp.html. This summary is very helpful so that I don't accidentally commit something I didn't mean to. The first thing I realize is that temp.html is not a file I actually want. I created it, but I don't want it anymore. I certainly don't want to commit it. Since it's untracked by Git, I can just delete normally. It has nothing to do with Git. The command for that is rm temp.html. Okay, run git status again. It's gone. The next thing I notice is that index.html is modified. I don't remember changing it. Let me double check. Git diff index.html will tell me. Looks like an extra S on that body line. That doesn't belong there. I must have accidentally hit a key while I was in that file. Git can help me undo that change. Run git status again. Notice that line right above index.html. Git status is actually telling me exactly how to undo this change. It says, use git checkout -- and then the name of the file to discard changes in working directory. Let's try that. Git checkout -- space index.html. Now run git status again. Index.html doesn't show up anymore. Let's go into the editor. The S on line 12 is gone. Git reverted this file back to exactly what it was in the last commit. Now let's look at the last file, style.css. In this file, I changed the color to blanched almond, but I'm having second thoughts. I think I want to undo that change too, even though I already added it to staging. Git status gives me a hint for that too. It says, use git reset head and then the name of the file to unstage. Here goes. Git reset head style.css. And then let's run git status again to see. Style.css has been removed from staging. It's now listed under changes not staged for commit. If I want to completely undo my change, I can repeat what I did for index.html. Follow the instructions git status gives me for discarding changes. Git checkout -- space style.css. One final git status. The working tree is clean. All my changes have been undone. In this final section, we saw that git status gives us a lot of hints about how to undo changes we've made that aren't yet committed. It includes two commands, git checkout with 2 dashes and git reset head. Let's finish up with just 2 quick review questions. Here's the output of a git status command. Exactly what command would you need to type to discard the changes to surprise.txt? Pause the video if you want more time. The hint is found in the Git status output itself, and the command is git checkout -- surprise.txt. Second question. Here's the Git status output again. What command would you need to type to unstage the changes to balloon.png? Again, Git gives us a hint. The command is git reset head balloon.png. We saw quite a few commands in this video for working with Git history. First, we used git checkout to navigate back and forth on the timeline temporarily. Then we used git reset to undo newer commits to go back to an old one. This is paired with git push -- force to apply the same undo to GitHub. We also saw that we can throw away all our local changes and just take what's on GitHub, using git reset -- hard with origin master. Finally, we used a few commands recommended by Git status to undo changes that have not yet been committed. That's it for the Grand Circus Git Basics video series. Git takes a lot of practice to master, so don't worry if you feel overwhelmed at first. We also provide a document summarizing the commands covered in this series. For a more in-depth resource, check out the online book provided by Git. Go to git-scm.com/book. Both of those links can be found in the description below. Thanks for watching.